Good evening. Alright, evening students, my background is noisy, but just I apologize for that. The guest lecturer is trying to get in, so we're trying to work it out. I didn't realize that we have blocked everybody from entering the class who doesn't have an thesis. So Dr. Malcolm is assisting. Alright, so just give me a few seconds. Second. I should prepare the lecture and everything, so I'm trying to get it. Can somebody just speak to say that you heard it and everything I said? Margaret, are you in? Is she in? Oh my God, time is going. Give me 1 second.
Mute. Yeah, I see guest lecture. Okay. All right. Put mute back on, okay?
All right, Margaret, are you there? Just unmute.
All right. I'm
Yes.
there. Yeah.
Yes. And I've made you co-host.
Okay.
All right. So I want to, sorry guys, good evening everybody. Apologize for the noisy background, but I want to welcome Margaret to the tour. Hold on, what am I hearing in my background? I'm hearing some noise in my background. All right, okay. Margaret, go ahead and take over.
No, I need to know how to put up the PowerPoint.
Open the PowerPoint on your screen.
Open it on my screen, okay. Can you see it?
Hold on, so when you open it, you're going to on Zoom now, you're going to look for, in the classroom, you're going to look at share screen.
All right, just a minute. I don't.
No, man.
I'm gonna call my husband, okay?
Okay,
because
okay.
Yes. He does this, and what you're talking about, I understand the words, but I don't see any of it.
Okay, all right. Okay. All right, students. So this is Margaret, a colleague of mine from UA. She is very, very good at academic writing, and I did ask her to come and help you guys. I want you to hear a different perspective. Is a colleague I've worked with for I think about 2 years, and she has been doing it far longer than I have been teaching academic writing. And she's very, very, very savvy, very knowledgeable, and she'll be much nicer than I am.
I don't know about that. I'm old. You know how old people are. They're very grouchy. Anyway, I'm going to get some help to put the thing on. I'm going to take off the video just for a second. Okay, because I'm getting some help.
All right. Yeah. All right. So Margaret will be helping you today, and if she's available, she'll be continuing on Wednesday. All right, guys, you're hearing me, right? I apologize for the noise in the background.
Yes, sir. You said she'll be helping you today and on Wednesday. That's what I heard.
Right. Yes. Okay. Okay. So she's getting some help because she's not used to Zoom. I think she's more familiar with another learning management system or a different learning platform. So we're trying to assist her. I'm not sure. I said I wanted her to be focused. There you go. You're on. You're on, Margaret. But you need to unmute, Margaret. We're not hearing you. So we're seeing your screen, but we're not hearing you. So you need to unmute. It's to your bottom left of your screen. Unmute.
Okay. Found
yes.
It.
Yes.
All
yes.
right.
Yes. You can go to slideshow if you want, or if you want to stay in this mode.
I don't have it. Where's the slideshow? Okay.
So it's
okay. Just a minute.
So it's
we're looking for it.
Yes, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Top from far left to going across.
I don't see anything like that.
Come on. Top. Where you see file? Where you see file?
Oh, file. Yes.
Go straight across. No, go across till you see slideshow. Go across.
Oh, okay, it's covered.
You're moving too fast. No, man, you're moving too fast, man. So file, home, insert, draw. It's right there. Just go back to file.
Robin, the thing is that my thing where okay, now I see it. Okay, right. Slideshow. It was click hidden by the bar.
Yes, yeah. Click on it.
I got it.
And then you're going to go from beginning. Click
from beginning.
Right.
Okay. Right.
And you're good to go.
All right. Now I'm going to get rid of this. All right. So, okay. I can't see them though. How can I make it smaller so I can see them?
No, man. Once you can just click on participants and call on. Most persons are not going to really turn on their mics because some persons are still at work. They're on the bus.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can just click on the participants list, and they will unmute if they have a question.
Okay. All right.
All right.
And I can see. I can be in video or not in video.
You can be in video or not in video.
Right. Okay. I'm not good at not being in video, but I'm going to try. Okay. They can hear me.
Yes, can you guys hear her? I can hear her.
Oh, okay. I see a Georgia A. Hines. I know a Georgia A. Hines. Anyway, okay. So, yes, my name is Margaret Newman, and yes, I have worked with Mr. Clark for several years. It is interesting to start a lecture in the middle of a course because although Mr. Clark has shown me and has told me where you are, I can't see you, and so I don't have a sense of your presence. And I'm just talking to a screen with my my slides on it. Okay, now you can see on the slide that I have some quotes about writing. And basically, I like doing that because we have different feelings about writing. And a lot of my students like the first one. Writing is the hardest work in the world, not involving heavy lifting. And I think some people feel that way, okay? I can't see you, so I can't even ask you to say, you know, how many of you agree with that or not. But I have a feeling that many of you feel that way. And for me too, I used to like writing, but sometimes it can be very difficult, and sometimes I lose sleep and I get writer's block. So I know what all those things feel like. Now, the next one I liked because it says, when something can be read without effort, great effort has gone into its writing. I like this one because when we read writing without effort, when we read something very easily, we just assume that the person did that the first time. Now, I think there are one or two people who can write like that. They you know, they just have a facility, but most of us, we write, rewrite. I remember before the laptop and everything came in, when I was at university, I had a computer, a typewriter that wasn't even electric, and you had to pound on it, and you had to put a carbon copy behind it. So writing was really difficult because once you were typing out your essay, I never typed on the typewriter, because once you typed on the typewriter and you made a mistake, you had to take out the carbon and all the paper and do it all over again. So it was a lot of handwriting, and a lot of garbage pails were filled up as you rewrote and rewrote, okay? So whenever you read something that is beautifully written, somebody has put a lot of effort into it. My favorite one is the next one. Thoughts disentangle themselves when they pass through my lips and fingertips. This is me. I am not the kind of person that uses outlines or things like that. I have to start with where I'm thinking, and then I make notes. And it's when I start talking it out or making notes that I can start to see where it's going. So when I have to write an essay, like for my courses, this is a long time ago, although yes, when I did my undergrad and then my master's, my way of collecting information was to read. I mean, I would think of what I wanted to do, and I'd have a half-baked idea, and I wasn't always sure what it was. But as I started reading, things would leap off the page, and I would write copious, you know, those long, what do you call it, notepads. And then those days they had newsprint. It was very cheap. And I would fill them with notes. I would write them out word perfect, because I wanted to be able to know what the person said and then change it later, either summarize or paraphrase. And I would only write on one side of the page. And then on each source that I had, I would have a different notepad, sometimes different, you know. So I kept all the sources separate, and I made sure that all full bibliographic material was at the top of the page. I'm just giving you a brief view of showing you that I don't write always the way we teach you to write. And then when that was finished, I would read my notes. And then once again, things would jump off the page at me, and I'd have maybe a red ink pen or a highlighter, and I would highlight them. And then when I went through that and I looked back, I'd start to see a major picture or idea. And just to let you know, I did social sciences. I did my first degree in sociology and social work, and the second, my master's in development sociology. So I'm in your field. And that was basically how I would know what I was thinking. So when it says thoughts disentangle themselves when they pass through my lips and fingertips, that quote really is about me. Now, I don't write very much anymore. I am a lay reader in my church, so I do preach sometimes and I write them out. And once again, it's the same process. I write and then I go back and I highlight and then I put them together. And then I talk to somebody. I tell them what it is I really want to say. So what I'm doing is I'm telling them what my main idea, what my focus, what my thesis is. And then I tell them all the ideas, and I have an idea, a general gist of how I'm doing it. And then I go back and write. Okay, I don't do an outline. For some reason, for me, doing an outline, if it was a 5-paragraph essay, I could do an outline, by the way. But if it's going to be like 7, 8 pages, for some reason, an outline stops me from thinking, and I just need to keep writing. And then as I write, the ideas, because I've already thought it through, they come on the paper. So I'm telling you that I am teaching something that I don't always follow myself. I have tried it. Every different method of writing an essay, I tried it while I was an undergrad till I found something that worked. So I really love the one, thoughts disentangle themselves as they pass through my lips and fingertips. If I want to know what it is I'm thinking, I take out rough paper and pen and I start writing. And by the time I get to the end, I know what it is that I need to say. And then I can start over again, organize it and write it, okay? The next one, it says, however great a person's natural talent may be, the act of writing cannot be learned all at once. And that's very comforting, because some of us are good writers, but we can't know everything, and we have to study, take courses like this. We have to practice. And the more essays that you write and the more you read in your discipline, it rubs off on you. After a while, you do start writing the way your discipline writes, and you can see that you're developing their terminology, their way of sentence structure even, and it starts to flow. The last one on this page, it says, reading maketh a full person. It said man. You know that the square brackets mean that I have changed. I've put my own word in. It said full man, but women are not men, but we are persons. Reading maketh a full person, conference a ready person, and writing an exact person. And this is normally when I ask people to explain to me or give me an idea of what it means. Why would they say that reading maketh a full person? Now, how can I see you? Robert, can you tell me? Robin, can you tell me how to see them again? Okay, I will continue. Okay, so for me, a full person is someone, let's see where I'm just looking for something. Okay, I have laid it aside and now I don't know where it is. Anyway, when you think of somebody who's full, somebody who has something of substance, conference makes a ready person. Conference means a discussion, makes a person who is able to reply to a question or to something that somebody else is saying about something that is happening in the world or something they've read, and writing an exact person. And that makes sense because when you have to write, if you don't write clearly, then people cannot understand what you have to say. Now, the next set of quotes are written by educators, and they're different, okay? Now, how do I move this forward again? Slideshow. Oh, there we are. Okay. So here's the guy, this person said, there is nothing natural about the organization and the way language is used in a piece of writing. It has to be learned. So when you're writing and you look at your sentences and you shake your head and somebody else shakes their head over it and they want to criticize it, just remember that writing and talking are very different. Already I have stopped in mid-sentence in some of my ideas, switched over to another idea. It's okay because I'm talking. Even though you can't see me, you can hear me talking. But if you did that in writing, nobody would want to read what you've written. So it's not a natural way of communicating the way we naturally communicate when we talk. So it has to be learned. And you're beginning, I mean, you've gone through high school and you've learned quite a bit about writing, and we're taking you another step, helping you to learn how to write in a way that people can understand what it is you're saying, and it could look like it's effortless. says here, it makes little difference how many university degrees or courses a person may own. If he or she cannot use words to move an idea from point to another, his or her education is incomplete. That's a pretty harsh statement. And like I said, if I saw you face to face, we could have a discussion here. Education, of course, it doesn't only mean reading and writing. There are so many things that we can be educated in, but according to Norman Cousins, it's not enough just to know things about a lot of things. If you have a university degree, it presupposes that you can organize your ideas, that you are able to develop them, that you can counter them, you can support them, you can bring in other people's ideas, and you can bring those ideas to clarity so other people can read them. So they're saying if they cannot use words to move an idea from one point to another, his or her education is incomplete. One of the reasons you go to university is to read what other people are saying, to learn to agree or disagree, or to add to what they're saying. And so that is what means that you are a university student. So this course that Mr. Clark is teaching you is very important, even though we're teaching it in a very stylistic way. It's basically so that you have the basic skills, and then you're going to use them for different kinds of research. And each one of you, I mean, some of you are doing sociology, I hear, some of you are doing psychology, some are in business management, and each of you are going to write slightly different research papers that are very different from this essay that we're teaching you. From my background in sociology, we actually did have like an objective, and the introduction was different. And the very thing we say you're not supposed to do, like this essay will, do these three things. I found that in sociology, at the end of your introduction, you actually did say this research or this study will, and then you'd list the 3, 4, or 5 things that you were going to do. And then in your conclusion, you'd have to go back and make sure that you fulfilled all of your list, and that in the body you did all of the research and the analysis and the explanations to do that. The next one was the president of the New York School of University, New School University. It says writing is both a marker of high skill, high wage professional work, and a gatekeeper with clear equity implications. Okay, that's a really packed sentence. And once again, it's an opinion, and we don't necessarily have to agree with it. And when this was written, I'm sure this was written 30, 40 years ago. Things have changed now, but people, when in my day and age, people did go to university, hopefully to become professionals, to get high skill, to become high skilled, to get good wages, okay? And it was true, it meant you made a lot of money, or you made good money. Today, it's not so true anymore. You can make money in other ways. You don't have to go to university. You can start businesses. You can be an actor. You can go into music. You can go entertainment. There are many things that you can do. So this is not necessarily true anymore. So in my day, it was a gatekeeper. Now, you know what a gatekeeper is? It's somebody who keeps you out. And what they were saying is that if you couldn't write well, you just couldn't get the jobs that you had been trained for. Just because you can't write well doesn't mean you're not thinking clearly, you're not intelligent. But once again, it says if you can't move an idea from one point to another, they can't hire you. Because often in a job that a university educated person gets, the first thing anybody will see about that company is something that company writes or has put on a billboard or has, and if there are grammatical errors or sentence structure problems, people are going to think that the person is not educated. That's not necessarily true, but something simple like that is a gatekeeper. And so when you have an interview and there are 10, 15 people being interviewed for the same job, your ability to speak clearly, to move an idea from point to point, to organize it well, will improve your chances of getting the job, even over somebody who might know more about that field. But if they cannot express themselves clearly, they're not going to get the job. It sounds sad, but it's true, okay? So people unable to express themselves clearly in writing limit their opportunities for professional salaried employment. Now, I'm not saying that every one of you wants a salaried job, okay? Many of you, I think, as professionals want to start your own thing, whatever it is, okay? But a lot of you are going to be doing research for different companies or different organizations, and you are going to have to learn how to write the way they expect you to write so that everybody knows what you're talking about. Okay, so that's enough preaching. All right, now how does this work again? Okay, sorry. All right. Okay, I'm just doing some review. We're looking at the thesis because I understand that I'm going to be working with you on your continuing to work on your topic sentences. I gather that you have worked on your thesis statement and that you're working in either pairs. I think you're working in pairs in this group. So you're co-writing. And so you've had to agree on what the thesis is. And so this is just a brief, just to show you what a thesis, just to remind you, okay? They're generally stated in a single sentence. They limit the topic, they express an opinion, and, they indicate the kind of support to follow, whether it's going to be, an argument or compare contrast, or if it's going to have a lot of statistics. You already know that from the thesis statement. It organizes, so it first tells you what kind of support, whether it's going to be data or examples or anything, but it also organizes it, whether it's going to be, like I said, compare contrast, an argument. I can't remember right now with the different organizing. It's I think it's in the essay later on, but so, and then they have to be precisely worded so there's no confusion. I didn't know that this was set up to disappear and come in anyway. So one of the things I said is that we do teach you a rather stylized version of writing. And I know a lot of students will say that they're never going to write this kind of essay. And that is the truth. But by teaching you a short essay, we can get in a lot of, we can teach you a lot of skills and way of writing that we couldn't do if you had to write a 10-page essay and we had to work with you, okay? So just put it down to a small thing. So maybe if you were going to learn to be a carpenter, you'd first make a small shelf to learn, to different things. If you're going to learn to cook or whatever, you'd learn something small. So I wanted to show you an outline of an essay that is not a 5-paragraph essay, just to show you that we understand this, okay? So you see that the topic is adolescence, and the narrow topic was problems facing the adolescents. The other thing that I want to say is that although we teach, or some of us love to teach, the 3-point thesis statement, this isn't in scripture. God didn't send it down from heaven, okay? There are a lot of different ways of organizing the thesis statement. But what is true is if a thesis statement makes 2 or 3 or 4 points, depending on the length of your essay, it's so much easier to write because you know exactly where you're going, which section of the paper deals with which topic. So this one has 2 main points. It says 2 primary problems confronting adolescence are extreme dependence on family and the search for personal identity. So right away, you know that this essay has 2 sections. One is going to be about their dependence, and the other one is a search for personal identity. So there's an A section, adolescents are extremely dependent on their families, and adolescents are perplexed by their search for an identity in a changing world. However, that doesn't mean this essay has 2 paragraphs, okay? These are the 2 sections. And so just because you're writing a 5-paragraph essay with 3 points and each point gets 1 paragraph each, that's not the normal way that we would write an essay, okay? So I'm just showing you that so that it has 2 parts. You can see that the topic sentence, adolescents are extremely dependent on their family, has 2 topic sentences, okay? And for all I know, they might have, if there's a lot of information, they might even have more than 1 paragraph. But it says, because jobs for the young do not pay well, adolescents have to depend on their parents for financial support. Okay, I just want you to think for a second, what kinds of information or data or would you use to support this topic sentence? Can you think? Could you look for evidence of what kids of, with just one university degree or straight out of high school, like adolescents, so they're in high school, in Jamaica even, what kinds of jobs can a high school student get? Could they support themselves? I know some kids have to, because you're lucky because you're in university, but there are a lot of kids who don't go to university and their parents are counting on them to go out there and find some way to make some money to help support the family, right? We're not all middle class. A lot of us are not, okay? We're the lucky ones to be at university. We have a chance to change that. But as teenagers, we know this is true. There are very few jobs for teenagers. And so they have to depend on their parents. And in this society, their parents are not in a position to financially support them. They need their almost grown-up kids to help bring in money. Then it says the second point they're making is that because parents have always provided emotional stability, adolescents feel lost without parental support. Now, some parents give more or less emotional stability, but you can see that this would you probably use anecdotal or examples, maybe go to the research. So it's a different kind of data that you'd be using. Okay, so here's the second part. Adolescents are perplexed by their search for an identity in a changing world. They're torn between acting as children and acting as adults. Now, if you remember, it's not that long ago when you were teenagers, if you were trying to act like an adult, your parents would get angry with you and they say, it's just one ruler in this house. There's different words that we use for one boss, and they don't want you stepping on their toes. But then when you behave in a certain way, they say, well, you're acting like a baby. So when you're a teenager, it's really difficult. You really are like neither fish nor fowl. And you can get into trouble for acting too big for your boots or being too dependent. Okay. It's difficult for adolescents to form ideals or goals when their world is in an upheaval. And that's true. I mean, there's so many things that are changing in your very short lifetime. We have now, if you read about the whole issue of gender, where people now can say that they don't have a gender, it's difficult to know. What if you don't know who you are and people expect you to be a certain way. So there are fewer and fewer, I guess, hard and fast boxes that we can fit ourselves into. And if we do, we might be the odd person out. So our world is in upheaval and there's so many different ways of being. And it seems like it's too fluid for a lot of us. Okay, social standards, right? Our parents have one set of standards, our friends have another set of standards, even the people who lead the society, even people that are supposed to be able to trust. And we just have the latest sad scandal with the church in Montego Bay, where some of the behavior of the pastors seemed very questionable. It seems like he was really stealing from the people who didn't have a lot, asking them to, I mean, these are alleged, so I don't want to go, be sued for saying things that weren't true, but it really appeared that, and now he's being charged with certain things. And this was a person that was supposed to be a person who we could look up to, who could set social standards. And so when our leaders, our politicians or our teachers or our ministers or, somebody our parents, when they don't have good standards and our society doesn't have any standards that we can hold on to, they shift. It's very difficult to know who we are. Okay, and then it says rites of passage. It used to be that when I was growing up, you could work as a teenager. Oh, and you bought your own first car. It was really old, and you got your first key to get into the house. Your first little job. I remember my first job was when I was in high school. I went to a woman's house one day a week, and I cleaned her bathroom and her kitchen floor. And it felt. I mean, it sounds really crazy, but to have real cash in my hand that I had some power over, it felt like I was becoming an adult. So we there used to be certain rites of passage, but now with fewer jobs for young kids, and it's very hard to know how to become an adult. And so we use different things like possibly smoking, drinking, sex. There's different things that we use to show people that we are now a big person. All right, this is just a brief list. I'm sure that Mr. Clark has already told you this, but there's different ways of supporting a thesis or a topic sentence, because a topic sentence is an awful lot like a thesis, but it's the thesis of a paragraph rather than the thesis of an essay. So you can use definitions, history, all different kinds of things. And I like the one closer to the bottom. It's just quotation, paraphrases, and summaries. I'm not sure, but I think Mr. Clark said that you were starting to work on paraphrasing and summarizing. Okay, so I don't remember how this happened, but anyway, a topic sentence is to a paragraph what a thesis is to an essay. It often has the same three parts that a thesis has: a topic, an opinion, and a blueprint. A blueprint is like 2 points, 3 points, 4 points. So it says, one, a topic sentence not only states the main idea of the paragraph, it also supports the thesis of the essay. If you have a topic sentence that doesn't support your thesis, you need to rework it or maybe take that whole section out of your paper. It needs to be focused, okay? So it doesn't only let people know what the paragraph is about, but it expresses a view or makes a point. So here's an example: shocking behavior by fans, including rudeness and violent language, has become common at many sporting events. And you can see how that paragraph is just begging for statistics of maybe people beating up people or somebody getting hurt, examples, but you could use different kinds of information and data to support this thesis, this topic sentence. It should give you an idea of how the paragraph is going to be organized. This is teaching employees how to handle conflicts through anger management and mediation is essential in high-stress jobs. So obviously this essay was probably about stress, high-stress jobs, and its impact on employees. And one of the paragraphs is going to talk about how people can handle that. Recent discussions about the plight of African Americans, especially those at the bottom of the social ladder, tend to divide into two camps. Right away, you know that paragraph is going to make 2 points. And the interesting thing is if those two camps have enough information, the paragraph will actually split into 2 paragraphs, and there'll just be a linking, like the first camp, and then the second paragraph will be the second camp, but the topic sentence is still recent discussions about the plight. It'd still be the topic sentence, but instead of having just 1 paragraph, it might have to have 2. When a paragraph gets too long, it's like that hamburger, I think, I don't know if Mr. Clark showed you the hamburger way of writing a paragraph. When there's too much in it, it falls apart and you can't eat it. It should support your thesis. So here's an example of a thesis. And I want you to look at the 4 different topic sentences and see how they all support the thesis. Just a minute, I'm trying to. Robert, can you tell me how I can see the people? Oh, the participants. Okay, I see it. All right. So you can see that research has shown that not all biological. So every one of those topic sentence definitely talks about why the adoption file should not be made available to adult children. Okay, and it looks at it from the mother's point of view and even from the adult children's point of view. But every one of them looks at the negative. Okay. Okay, let me see. Why doesn't it go forwards? Oh, sorry. Okay, so here's another one. Now, in this case, I'd like you to pick out which topic sentence does not support the thesis. Can anybody unmute themselves and suggest which one of them, A, B, C, or D, does not fit the topic sentence, the thesis, which topic sentence is out of place. Yes?
People get married for a reason other than love.
Very good, yes. I mean, it's about marriage, but certainly not about that thesis. Thank you. All right. Let me see, I don't know why it takes so long to shift. All right, so let's look at topic sentences, because now that's what your next job is going to be, is your topic sentence. So in many ways, the topic sentence is the most important sentence in the paragraph, okay? Because if you had all the topic sentences made into, wrote them up nicely, you'd have sort of like a summary of your essay, wouldn't you? Okay, so it takes the form of generalization, which is supported in the remaining sentences, just like in the thesis. Good topic sentences imply a question. I like this particular slide because I sometimes find it hard to write good topic sentences. I kind of know what the paragraph is going to be about. But if I write a topic sentence, it should answer one of these questions. Okay, so you're making a claim and you want it to answer maybe in what ways, or for what reasons, by what means, to what extent, under what conditions, with what results. So if your topics, it's just like when you're writing a thesis statement, you come up with a question, a general question, and then you make sure that you have a general answer, and then you make a very clear thesis statement that is 2, 3, or 4 points that answers that question. And just as I said, that a topic sentence is a lot like a thesis statement, it's good to have some questions in tow and to apply them to any topic sentence that you have, or when you see, maybe the first draft you just write, but when you're starting to look at your paper again, you can check your topic sentences and see what questions they're answering, and these can really help you. So here's an example. So let's look at the topic sentence here. It says, in the process of trying to save England, Churchill became a tyrannical taskmaster, a man who always had to be right. Okay, so which question can this paragraph answer? Does anybody want to try one? Yes?
Miss, I can see back over the phrase that you just read, the passage you just read.
Oh, sure, sure. Okay, so here's the topic sentence. In the process of trying to save England, Churchill became a tyrannical taskmaster, a man who always had to be right. What question comes into your mind? What do you think what do you want the rest of the paragraph to tell you? Let's go back to these questions and see if they help you. We might want to know
For
in
what
what
reason?
ways.
For
Yes,
what
or for what
reason?
reasons?
For what reason?
To what
Yes.
extent?
Yes, to what extent? So any of those questions could be
Under
answered
what
in that
condition?
period. Yes, very good. Now, he can't answer all those questions, can he? But maybe you could write an essay where each paragraph answered one of those questions. So let's look at which one you think this paragraph answered. So he was often hard on subordinates, and he was demanding of time and attention. He was usually dissatisfied with the efforts of people who served him. He hated inefficiency and never missed a chance to rage against it. He disapproved of much of what he saw around him. What really got to him most, however, was casualness of attitude, and he condemned it. He believed he was working hard, so why shouldn't others? Okay, now I'm not sure exactly which question he answered, but you can see how, having in mind these questions, you might have answered that topic sentence slightly differently. And that's why I like these questions. They're so simple, and they help me when I'm trying to write a paragraph and I've got a topic sentence, but I'm not quite sure where I'm going to go with it. Or I know where I'm going to go with it, but I haven't got the topic sentence yet. But I think these questions are very helpful. I like them. Okay, so topic sentences to avoid, okay? So you've got your thesis statement and you've got 3 points. So you're going to have 3 major topic sentences. Now, once again, I don't know exactly how many words your paper is, but sometimes when a paragraph gets too long or a paragraph has 2 points under your topic sentence, it may end up being 2 paragraphs. Okay, so dead end topic sentence. It's information. Johannes Kepler discovered that the planets of our solar system moved in oval orbits instead of circles. Can't go anywhere, right? There's nothing to discuss. It's a fact. That's what he discovered. Now, maybe you could, ask a question, how did he discover it? But that's not a good topic sentence. Maybe the second sentence after this one could be a good topic sentence, but then you wouldn't use that sentence as in your outline as your topic sentence. Wild guess, okay? So here's one. In the wake of Iran scandals, the breach of public trust in big government will be healed eventually by a change in administration and some discrete Justice Department reforms in the 90s. Wow, what are you going to write in that paragraph? Right, it's just all over the place. You don't even know where to begin to find evidence or a discussion. So you can see that you don't want that kind of topic sentence. And in a way, it's nice that you're working together because you can check each other and you can help each other form a more concrete topic sentence. You don't want to ask a question, okay? What are the personal qualities needed to ensure success? That's a good place to start, but you kind of want to make a claim that the personal qualities needed to ensure success are this and this and this. That would be so much more helpful in the way that, so it's helpful to start with a question, but just like you don't want a question for your thesis statement, you don't want a question for your topic sentence. You don't want to talk about the paragraph. I will now discuss the reasons Obama won the elections. You don't need to do that. You can just say the reasons Obama won the elections were, or there were 3 basic reasons or 2 major reasons why Obama won the elections, right? And then you can write your paragraph and discuss what those 2 are. Wordy or redundant, okay. While it suffers from overcrowded and traffic-ridden cities, outmoded technology, and a high illiteracy rate, the Middle Eastern nation of Oman, once the center of East African slave trade, is a staunch ally of the West. Now you can see that there's that whole section, once the center of East African slave trade, what does it have to do with the rest of the sentence, okay? So you don't want it to be wordy, you don't want it to be redundant, you want to take out anything that's not necessary. And you don't want an unlimited controlling idea. Madame Curie was an interesting lady. Okay, now that's not, in a way, it could be an attention grabber for an essay because you wanted to write an essay about Madame Curie and you did find her very interesting. So it's an attention grabber, but then the paragraph would have to start narrowing it down to you had a thesis statement about what you thought made her the most interesting. Okay, so you want to control. Okay, so let's look at the structure of the body paragraph. Okay, so we have topic sentence, we have supporting details, and we have a concluding or transitional sentence. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've often found that for me, the most difficult part of a paragraph is often that last one, concluding or transitional sentence. Like I said, I don't do outlines. I find that as I write, I come to the point where I need to start another paragraph, and it's usually because that paragraph has started rounding itself off. That's the only way I can say it. I'm not sure. I would never claim that it's a good concluding sentence, but it probably often is a transitional sentence. It takes the idea further or in a slightly new direction, which the paragraph prepared the reader to do, okay? So the topic sentence, this is a bit of what do you call it? Review. It identifies what the paragraph is about. It makes a point about the topic and it connects to the previous paragraph, okay? It explains the supporting details in that paragraph should explain the topic sentence. Should explain the topic sentence. And you can use different kinds of evidence. I tried to show in a few of the topic sentence or the questions, what kinds of information you would need to back it up. Okay, some topic sentence, you just know right away you're going to need some charts or you're going to need some data. you're going to need some statistics, or other ones you're going to need maybe studies and projects that have shown or indicated how your claim is a good one. Then you might bring in somebody who disagrees with you. But the topic sentence gives you clues about what would be the kind of information you need in your supporting details. And once again, we get to the concluding. Okay, so it draws the paragraph to a close, or it leads to the next paragraph. So not every time are you going to have a concluding sentence, okay? Quite often in a well-written essay, maybe in between the sections of the essay, there might be a concluding sentence, but often in the different paragraphs that are filling out that section, they may have more like transitional sentence. It tells you what the next idea is going to be and how it's linked to the paragraph before it, but it doesn't conclude, it continues. I don't know why it's not going down. Oh, there it is. All right, so here we want to look at one, okay? So here is one. It says, how to reduce the spread of childhood obesity. It's a question, and the thesis answers the question. It says, exercising regularly, maintaining a balanced diet, and educating parents and children are some of the ways to reduce the spread of childhood obesity. It's very clear, isn't it? It's kind of a nice, easy to understand. You can just feel how you're going to write it. And it kind of suggests the topic sentence that you're going to be using. So the first one, they make a claim about exercising regularly. You can see once again that a topic sentence is a little bit like a thesis. Exercising regularly is one way to reduce childhood obesity. Okay, so this is a paragraph, okay? Now you can see how when you're outlining a paragraph or coming up with your sentences that you're going to use to develop your paragraph, it looks like topic sentences of a thesis, doesn't it? Okay, so one of your sentences says, students who do not participate in sports such as football and netball versus those who do are more prone to obesity. You can hear the claim in that. Anybody who makes a claim like that, you're going to say, okay, what's the evidence? Prove it to me, okay? And you can see that in this one, the person went a little further, didn't just give the topic sentence, but also is giving a suggestion of where they're going to go with this claim, okay? Now, I think there's probably going to need one or two more sentences, because just because it's a longitudinal study done over 10 years, you might want one or two sentences that go straight to the conclusions, or that like some of the major points of evidence that this study gave. So the next topic sentence, or not topic sentence, the next sentence in this particular paragraph goes on to say that they actually used a quote, increased outdoor activities such as play and hikes among children increase the metabolic rate, converting excess sugar and fat into energy. So they're not only claiming that there's studies that showed that kids who played sports were less prone to obesity. They're also saying what it is about sports and playing that causes a child not to be so obese, okay? There's a difference between being stocky and well-built and obesity, okay? So, once again, it's a quote, and you can't just leave a quote hanging. So when you would be writing the paragraph, filling it out, you'd have one or two sentences again that would give evidence. Maybe look at a study that showed how much increase, or maybe a scientific or more scientific that explained what it is about metabolic rate that would convert sugar and fat. I'm not very scientific, but you understand what I'm saying. You take a part of the quote and then you explain it, okay? And then you've got the next one that says physical activities decrease fat around the waist and total body fat. The last two seem to be very, very linked, because it says first that number two says that it converts sugar and fat into energy. Well, of course, if they're doing that, then of course it's going to decrease the fat around the waist and total body fat. And they're, once again, you might have some data on how dangerous it is to have a lot of waist fat around your waist, what it does to your heart rate and your general health. So you would have another sentence. So you can see that a sentence outline is not the full paragraph, but it gives you the structure and the main ideas. And it could almost work for your essay. Okay, so let's see now. Come on. I don't know why it won't go down. Oh, I feel like such an idiot, sorry. Ah, there it goes. All right, so when you're writing a paragraph, we already talked about it having to be the topic sentences having to be unified in the sense they have to all support the thesis. Now, in a paragraph, it's the same thing. All of the sentences have to support the topic sentences. And just as I was giving you examples in the paragraph before, it had 3 good topic sentences, but they were not fully developed yet. And you need to provide concrete details. And I was suggesting that you may need data or studies or evidence, like explain how the metabolic rate. So that would be the kinds of concrete details that you would use to make that paragraph support the topic sentence. So in a unified paragraph, all sentences directly, I've just repeated myself, adding new information. Irrelevant details destroy clarity and distract the reader. And okay, so here's one. Let's look at this one, and I'd like you to tell me whether you think this is unified, a good example of a paragraph that has unity. Also, software applications afford teachers the opportunity to improve their administrative competencies so as to meet expectations of the education system, varied learner needs, and the society at large. See how it sounds like a thesis statement? It sounds like you could write a whole essay just on this. I don't know what the thesis statement was, but it had to be something about software applications for teachers. Okay, let's look at their sentence outline for the paragraph. So it says efficiency in preparing handouts, tests, lesson plans, and reports can be achieved. Microsoft Excel allows for accurate calculation of numbers, enabling, I have to do some editing here. I can see some errors. Teachers to better measure, rank, and assess students' performance. You can see that it links up to varied learner needs. So by looking at these, they could say, okay, that student needs help in this area, that student, okay? And the database management can help teachers to store critical information, such as parents. So you can see how a paragraph is like a mini essay. And you can see how the sentences that you're using to answer those questions, in what ways, why, under what conditions. So that little slide before, I'm leaving the PowerPoint with Mr. Clark, okay? And he's gonna leave it with you, okay? I don't know if I'm gonna finish it all, but we don't finish today. We'll continue later on, because I'd like to use some time for you guys to work together. I don't want to do all of the talking. Let me see, it's 6:20. Oh, I should probably stop now. Mr. Clark, you said you were going to suggest that they go into breakout rooms for the last half hour. I think it'd be a good time now. And I think, I'm really sorry that I can't see them, but could they choose, I don't know how to do this. I really have never done this before. Have you got any suggestions, Mr. Clark, how I could be involved in the breakout room so I could see what they're doing and give any kind of pointers or ask questions? Is there any way that I can do that?
All right, what we can do is to ask the respective groups to share a screen, because they're supposed to come with something to show me. So we just call one day, and so you'd have to share screen and allow them to share.
Oh, stop share screen. Okay. Oh, right. Like this? Okay.
they would show us what they have, and then you can give them feedback if you think it is good, if it's bad, or so forth.
All right, well, I like it when the students help each other. So is anybody brave enough to, if I
Rakisha
were you, I'm
McDonald,
always,
go ahead. Rakisha
Pardon me?
McDonald, go ahead for me, either
Okay.
you or your group members.
Okay, you need to unmute. Can I unmute her?
No one, she's gonna unmute. Sometimes it takes them a
Okay.
while. Rakisha
All
McDonald,
right.
or group members.
One moment, sir.
Sure.
So Margaret, you can just look at what they have and comment if you know how they can strengthen it, if how they can fix it, or you know, just give them some pointers.
Okay, I see it. Okay. It's a little bit small. Is there any way I can enlarge it so I can see better? Okay, research. Okay, so it says, I'm going to look at, okay, good, thank you. What are some ways in which site managers can prevent accidents on a work site? Nice question. Okay, maintaining equipment and tools, adhering to safety protocols, and providing safety training for all employees are several ways. Okay, so there's 3 points. Maintaining equipment and tools, adhering to safety, okay, just a minute, go up, just let me see that again. Okay, let me see the thesis again. Maintaining equipment, adhering to safety protocol, and providing safety training. So there's 3 points. Okay, so which paragraph would you like me to look at? Oh, these are the topic sentences?
Yeah, so they have topic sentence. They have one topic sentence with supporting. They just want you to come. You can look at that.
All right, so the first topic sentence would be maintaining
No,
equipment and tools.
Scroll down for me, teacher. Right, so here is it. So this is one of the topic sentences with support.
Okay, all right. So the third one was providing safety training for all employees is the final way in which a site manager can prevent accidents on a work site.
Evidence is incomplete.
Well, first of all, the site managers are responsible for the safety of the employees. I think that should be, my opinion, would probably be part of your introductory paragraph before you get to the thesis statement, right? Who is responsible for the employees? So I'm thinking that's a wonderful sentence, but I would put part of it that they're responsible for the safety. And that one of the reasons it would make monetary sense is that it probably saves them money. But if they can prevent hazards and risks, it will save them money. But what do you think should be in this paragraph? It says providing safety training. What do you think the reader is actually expecting, or maybe what I was expecting? The second B gives me a hint. Safety training makes all employees aware of hazardous tasks and enables them to take preventative measures. That sounds like a claim again. That could almost be part of your, it could actually even be your topic sentence. Instead of saying it exactly like you have it in your thesis statement, B says safety training makes all employees aware of hazardous tasks and enables them to take preventative measures. Okay, now that's a beautiful topic sentence because it forces you to then look at the questions that we had, you know, in what ways, by what means. Can you see that, B? Using B and making that your topic sentence, can you see that? It links it directly to your thesis because you're saying that they should have safety training, but it takes it further. It says that safety training makes all employees aware. So that paragraph could show what kinds of safety training and how it makes them aware and how it can help to prevent. So you're setting yourself up beautifully. Okay, does that make sense? You're allowed to talk to me.
Yes, it does.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you're a little bit repetitive in your outlining of your sentence, but you've got some really good research there. Okay, and you've got some good ideas in. Okay, so I think choosing the right topic sentence, then going back to that slide where it shows you what kinds of questions you can ask of your topic sentence will help you to pull out the information and the data and the evidence that you have from your reading that I can see, Levy and Cotello, Dunn, Smith, okay? I think it's really, really good, that B thing. That B one I think is really good because it sets you up. It has a point, it's got a claim, it's got three things that it, or two things that it's, you know, it shows you why it's so important to have safety training. Now, if that's not what you want to talk about, you're going to have to change your topic sentence. Does that help? Could everybody else see that?
Okay.
Okay, does anybody else want help? Usually when one person's brave, everybody wants to jump in.
Yeah, and Rakisha and group members, please, respond so that you can get further assistance.
Now, don't be afraid of me. Really, I've cried when I couldn't write an essay. I remember when I was doing my master's, I had done all the research and I could not find it. I called it my handle. It's the thesis. I had all this stuff, and it was like a 25 typed page essay that I had to end up with. Couldn't get it, and I went to sleep because I couldn't do anything else. And normally I can't sleep when I'm so nervous. And I woke up like 1:30 in the morning, and I knew what it was. I wrote it out, and I wrote out that essay. In those days, I couldn't type it. I mean, I didn't have a computer, and somebody else typed it out for me. So yes, I know how hard it is. I've cried buckets. I have vomited. So really, essay writing can be really off-putting. Okay, so the next person. I'd like another topic. Okay, who's next? Anybody else brave?
All right, Kurt, go ahead for me. Kurt and group members, and their group members. Kurt Tomlinson, go ahead for me.
Just a moment, sir. Finding the information.
Can I see it? Can I see can you share with me? I was one of the crazy teachers who actually liked peer review. I mean, having my students come in and discussing their paper and stuff like that, their outline. I actually liked it. You can tell, right? All right, let's see, where are we going? Okay, all right, so here we are. Let me see the thesis first. Okay, so some of the ways to prevent a heart attack. Okay, keeping diabetes under control, maintaining a healthy body weight, and reducing the consumption of alcohol. Okay, now the interesting thing is that maintaining a healthy body weight and reducing the consumption of alcohol is very good in keeping diabetes under control as well. I guess the first question I would want to ask before you answer I'm going to go any further. What are some of the causes of heart attack? I guess from your thesis, you're saying diabetes, overweight, and alcohol. Okay, so those are the three reasons. I can see why you would have those in your thesis. Okay, so which one do you want me to look at? Moving from sentence to evidence. Keeping diabetes under control is one way to prevent a heart attack. Okay, so you're saying that diabetics, that 65% of deaths in diabetics is caused. I've lost my essay.
Kurt, why you stop sharing the paper? Put it back up, please.
Right, okay, Kurt. Okay, so let's look at it. You may have to do a little bit of work on this. You've got good evidence. I mean, the question is good, and I can see why you put your thesis the way you did. But what I'm interested in is, okay, it says heart disease and stroke accounts for 65% of death in people with diabetes due to its long-term complications. So that's it's a sentence that's hard for me to understand, okay? So I can understand that if that you would argue that keeping diabetes under control is necessary because 65% of people with diabetes die of heart disease, okay? That would be a good reason to keep diabetes down. But I would need to know, what is the connection between diabetes and heart? What is it about having diabetes that leads to heart attack? Okay, because you're saying that in order to prevent heart attacks, you need to control your diabetes. What is it about uncontrolled diabetes that leads to heart attack? Okay. You've repeated yourself again. Adults with diabetes have heart disease. Okay. It is important to say, okay, so now here, maybe there's a link between the blood sugar level and what it does to your heart. So you have to link what it is about diabetes that harms the heart. Okay. Do you understand what we're doing here? Where's Kurt? Kurt, can you've taken off your voice. All right. Do you understand? So the first thing
yes,
is,
I understand what you're saying.
okay, so you have a really good idea, but you haven't fulfilled it. You've given me a promise. I'm so interested in knowing what it is about diabetes that harms the heart. So that first section has to look at why. How is it that diabetes leads to heart attack? Because your argument is that one of the ways to prevent heart attacks is to control diabetes. So we need to know why. What is it about diabetes that leads to heart attack? Do you understand, Kurt?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. Okay, do you want me to look at another point? Maintaining healthy body. See, this is why when I was looking at your thesis.
Let's see
No.
the second one first.
Yeah, but see, this is what, okay, this is why I was hesitant when I looked at your thesis, because I know that it has to do with sugar that is linked to diabetes, or the insulin. Sugar and insulin is linked to diabetes, but sugar is also linked to obesity. So it seems to me that maybe you're saying that one of the things that a person who wants to prevent heart attack, and I'm not saying you have to go there, I'm just saying it's about brainstorming still. There seems to be a link between sugar and heart attack, obesity, obesity and heart attack, and sugar and insulin, whatever it's called. There's a word they have it, I see it on television, resistance, insulin resistance, okay? So maybe the point is, one of the ways to decrease or to help prevent heart attacks is to have a strong control over what kinds of sugar and how much sugar you take. And this is for two reasons, because it can lead to diabetes, which can affect heart and can lead to obesity. So you still have two paragraphs or two sections. One, how the link between sugar and diabetes and how that links to heart attacks, and sugar and obesity and how that links to heart attack. It's a little bit more complex, but it's interesting. Okay, what's the third point? Oh, losing weight. No, that has to do, what was the third one? It was sugar, diabetes, and your thesis again.
Alcohol.
Alcohol, okay, and alcohol is also linked to diabetes. So it seems to me that sugar and alcohol, or you can look, the thing is that you've got some really good information, but it's not, the linkages are complicated, they're complex. So you may have to think about it a little bit more. Okay, I wish I could come up with a clear way of separating it, but I think the best way to begin with is to look at when you look at sugar from 2 points of view, that it can help, okay?
Yeah.
Or not, don't put in sugar, stick to diabetes and healthy body weight, okay? And maybe take, use it like, okay, so controlling diabetes, controlling obesity, and controlling consumption of alcohol. I'm not saying you want a thesis statement that is got a structure to it that flows, that it either has ing words or different things. It has the same, I don't know, can you help me, Robin? Sometimes words escape me. But do you
Well, I
understand
just
what
tell
I'm
them that they
saying,
need
Kurt?
to use the continuous verbs.
Thank you.
And then,
Yeah, that's one way of doing it. So the
right.
ideas are there, the information is there, and you've got keeping, reducing, and maintaining. But I'm not sure if the nouns are the ones that you want to do. I mean, maybe it's controlling diabetes, but controlling obesity and controlling consumption of alcohol. And then look at each of these, how diabetes hurts the heart, how obesity hurts the heart, and how alcohol hurts the heart. Because the thing about putting sugar in there, it's linked to, in a way, I think it's even linked to alcohol, because I think alcohol has some sugars in it too that go immediately into the system. But I would separate, make sure that the three things are separated, so you don't have that the thing. You don't have that thing about the difficulty with sugar. Sugar can be part of each one of them or not. Okay, but it's about what. So the question is, you're answering is how is diabetes linked to heart attack, to heart problems? How is obesity linked to heart problems, and how is alcohol linked to heart attacks? Okay, so you've got the same topics, you just want to restructure it slightly so that when you get into your paragraphs, it's the separation between them is clear and you're not saying the same thing over and over again. How am I helping you, Kurt? Is that okay, Kurt? Does that help? Am I making sense?
Oh yes, that's very helpful. So basically,
Okay.
oh yes, you are. So basically, you're saying that it should be more, the thesis should be more focused or straight line, so nothing overlaps in the paragraph. Basically, everything can
Yes,
be explained.
yes. I think your thesis is pretty good. It's just it's about controlling these three things, because you want to talk about how these three things impact the heart and can cause heart attacks. So it's about control. Okay, so instead of having three different verbs, keeping, maintaining, and reducing, it's about controlling it. So you can have a little bit of alcohol, like goes with reducing. I can see why you use keeping, maintaining, and reducing. But I want to, and maybe you can still keep that thesis, but when you get to the topic sentences, I want I want you to talk about the link between the diabetes, okay? The fact that diabetes is about insulin, and when there's the insulin controls how much sugar there's in the blood and what it does to the cells all throughout your body, and why it attacks your heart and things like that. So it's not just about, it's about the insulin. It's because of the insulin why the lack of insulin, why the sugar does this, okay? Then it goes to obesity. So it's not just sugar that causes obesity. And you might want to look at what is it about obesity, because there can be people who are quite heavy, but once they do exercising and eat better foods, they still stay weighty, but their heart is healthier, okay? So you want to look at what it is about obesity. What is it about those layers of that kind of fat? I think there's different names for different kinds of fat. Why is that so dangerous for the heart? What does it do? Does it squash the heart? Does it get into the heart? I'm not a medical person, but you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
Okay, good. And I hope that other people, even though it's not their topic, they're understanding what it is I'm trying to show you, because you have the information, you've done the reading, you've got good ideas, you just want to organize it. Okay, Kurt, thanks for sharing that with me.
All right,
Thank you very much.
thanks, Kurt. I see a lot of work being done, so I'm very, very impressed.
And when we meet on Wednesday, bring your thesis and topic sentences. I'll do a little bit more on the PowerPoint, but we'll spend more time working on your and I think too that when I listen to how other people's thesis and topic sentences are improved, like when I'm a student, I learn a lot, because we can't teach you everything, but if you can see, where their strengths are and how they can tweak it, then you learn for yourself. So that's on, what time is it? Oh, we've still got 15 more minutes, great. So on Wednesday, we will continue this. Okay, anybody else ready? I'd love to read somebody else's. Okay, no, that's disappearing. Okay. Who's next? Am I out?
Sorry, is it okay if I share?
Oh, Janelle. Okay, Janelle. Yes, I'd love to see yours. And you're not afraid of me, right?
No, miss.
Good. Because I know how hard this is. And when we put our sentences out there, we worked so hard. It's like putting our face out there. It's terrible if somebody, shreds it. Okay, if you're can you make that a little bit bigger so I can see it? My screen is not that big. What are the reasons for training and development in the workplace? Okay. So training is important because increasing employee motivation, improving staff performance, and reducing employee turnover are several reasons for training and development in the workplace. I don't know, this is one time when I'd actually like to start off with I guess your grabber, your attention grabber is going to make some outrageous claim about how important it is to train the employee. So I'll leave that to that. So the thesis statement can be more matter of fact. Okay. Sometimes I like simplicity. Okay, so sometimes, just going back to your thesis statement, sometimes I just like when the thesis statement is just straightforward. You need to train the staff because, it does this, increases motivation, performance, and it reduces turnover, right? That's just me. It doesn't mean your sentence is a good sentence. I just like things really simple. I get confused. Okay, so which topic sentence do you want me to look at? You want to look at the topic sentences too? Okay. Okay, so improving. Now you can improve your topic sentences by not just repeating it. Okay, increasing employee motivation is one of the reasons, but you want to go beyond saying is one of the reasons. What are the, okay. All right, see, that's your topic. So let's look at it and let's see how we can change your topic sentence, okay? So you're saying increasing is one of the reasons, okay. Okay, so increasing employee motivation. How does, what was it? Let me see what the top is. Let me see the thesis again. I forgot it. Reasons. Okay, so one of the reasons for training. So I would want to know, how does training increase employee motivation? Okay. Because otherwise you're just saying that motivation is enthusiasm and all this, but how does training do that? What is it about training that makes an employee motivated? Okay, so you're not answering that question. When you look at those little questions in that one little slide, what a topic sentence, what kind of questions you can ask. Okay, so let's look at the second one. Training and development increases. Okay, training and development provides career development. So one of the ways in which it increases employee motivation is it provides career development. So I would change your topic sentence. I would ask the question of your topic sentence, how does training increase employee motivation? You have to prove that to me. Okay, I already know it's one of the reasons, but I want to know how. What is it about training that improves their motivation? Now, the second point is that it gives them more opportunities. It widens their scope, it makes them feel like they've got something more to offer, right? Ultimately increasing staff. Okay, staff retention is this last point, okay? So we don't want to go in that. It's true that if they're motivated, they're not going to leave. But what we're interested in this one, what is it about training that motivates them, okay? Okay, it increases their self-confidence, great. Now you're talking about the different ways of giving them incentives, but I think training is an incentive. So I wouldn't add that D in there. It's the training itself is the incentive. Training increases employee motivation. B says is because they feel it provides more career development opportunities. Skip the last part. Okay, that's your third point. It increases self-confidence. I'm thinking that if I were a person and my management wanted to train me, I feel like it's like being praised. It's like saying they see potential in me. They want me. So, you know, I would take it from that point. You have to answer that question. How does training make an employee feel motivated, want to stay? Because that's your third point, that when they feel motivated and when they feel essential or important to the organization, when they feel more secure because they, you know, there's more opportunities, they'll want to stay, okay? And if training means that they go up a rung in the hierarchy so they even get a better salary, that's very motivating too. Do you understand what's your name again?
Janelle.
Janelle. Okay, Janelle, am I making sense? You can
Yes,
always stop
ma'am.
me, you know. All right, so you've got a really good idea, and I totally agree with you. Training is so important. And just speaking as an employee, I love it when somebody sees my potential. I love it when they see there's a place for me in their organization, and I've got I've got the personality for it, but I need some skills, right? So let's do this kind of training. It's investment in me, right? It feels great. So there's emotional, there's practical reasons, and then if they get a better job, I mean, they move up in the hierarchy and they get a better salary, more security. Wow, you know, you get it?
Yes, miss.
Yeah, okay. Any more questions? You can ask me any question you want. You know, I'm a chatterbox. So I'll take over if you don't interrupt me. Any questions you'd like to ask?
So miss, is it that the focus to get the evidence, it's more of training, the improvement towards motivation with staff?
Well, that's what your claim is. I don't know what you did. I can only go by what your claim is, what your thesis says. Your
Okay.
thesis says that training is important because it improves staff motivation. And I know that's true. Okay. And it makes so much sense, but you're not dealing with that, the question that your topic sentence. Go back to those questions in that little slide, you know, in what ways? So your claim is that training is going to increase an employee's motivation. How? In what ways? How is it going to do that? You know, what is it about training that's going to, so that question forces you to ask, you know, to then find the right information to answer that. Does that help? I know, I'm sure it helps everybody else too. Okay, Janelle?
Yes, miss.
Okay, all right, next person.
I'm going to present mine.
Okay, good.
Go.
Shanice. Hi, Shanice.
Hi.
Hi. I'm so sorry I can't see you guys, but that's okay. This is a new experience for me. Okay, just make it slightly bigger. I can see it though. What are the impacts of workplace safety on staff? Oh, that's an interesting
See this
question.
now?
I can see it a little bit. I can see it enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. The thesis is I can see how you can use that thesis in your essay, but before you write your essay, I would actually answer the question. Workplace safety impacts, okay. The impacts of workplace safety on staff is increasing production, improving employees' morale, and reducing injuries. Okay, so all right. So the impacts of workplace safety, increased productivity, improved employee morale, and a reduction in injuries. Okay, so it makes it a safer place. Okay, so which one are we looking at?
We're looking at increasing productivity.
Okay, can you scroll up a bit? Okay, so increasing productivity is one impact. Okay, instead of, that's a good place to start, okay? But let's see what, you're saying that increased safety increases productivity. Okay, sometimes it's better to, sometimes it's better to, at least in your outline, you want to keep it so clear that you don't get mistaken. So I would actually say workplace safety increases productivity of staff.
Okay.
Just to keep my, when you write the essay, you can fancy it up, you can change the sentences, you can make it sound very, okay? So, all right, is the concept, oh, okay. Okay, so once again, how does workplace safety increase productivity? Okay, that is the question you have to answer in this paragraph. All right.
Yes.
No, I'm going to look at I'm going to look at what you said. Okay, workplace safety. But now you're not answering that. You're saying it decreases accidents.
Yes, for the first, for the for A, Mr. said we could give the definition and
But
then
the definition
follow.
is not the work definition is not relevant here because a workplace a definition for workplace safety would come earlier, like in the introduction.
Yeah,
But
it would.
what Margaret is saying is here that the focus should be on showing how workplace safety increases staff productivity, and that is in A. So know that what probably you could have done is to define productivity as it is going to be used in the paper for this section.
Oh,
So instead of defining workplace safety, you should have defined productivity
productivity. Okay.
within the context of workplace safety.
And yeah, it's a nice definition, but I totally agree with Mr. Clark. You heard me stumble over it. It's like I couldn't get past it. And now I know why I stumbled. It's out of place. Okay.
Yes.
So the question you're asking, you need to answer in this paragraph is how does workplace safety increase productivity? Okay. All right, you're saying it increases productivity because when people feel safe, it improves their mental health. I don't understand how that, you have to make a claim about, okay, so you could say increase, okay, instead of saying increase productivity, the topic sentence says that workplace safety increases productivity of staff because it improves their mental health. Okay, or something like that. See, once again, this is about downtime.
Right, but so, I would phrase it how you said it, but not put the because in the topic sentence.
Okay.
Workplace safety increases staff productivity or something like that.
Right, and leave it at that now.
Right, leave it at that. And what I said to them last class is supporting evidence must answer how. The issue we're having now, and I think Margaret, that's why we're struggling, is because supporting evidence is not answering how. It is not showing how.
It has a suggestion. It has a suggestion. There's a suggestion there that one of the hows is that it improves mental health. But how does mental health, I mean, it's an interesting idea, actually. But how does mental health increase productivity? You know, so it's a really interesting, it's so interesting to me. I would love to see how you're going to do that. And the next one is, no, see, the C doesn't help either. It doesn't answer the question of how. How does workplace safety increase productivity? The only one thing you've said is that it improves their mental health. And I'm thinking that when they feel safe at work, they are going to be more productive, but you're going to need a little bit more information there. Okay. Have you got another one that you'd like me to look at?
No, not at this moment.
Not yet. Okay. Well, if you're ready by Wednesday and we have time after everybody else has shared, I'll go back to it. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
All right. Okay. Next one. I hope it didn't tear you down. So
no, we don't have
it.
Okay. All right. Okay.
We don't have enough.
I want you to write a good essay. I really want you to write a good essay. Oh, it looks like we have only 3 minutes left. How do you want me to do that? Okay.
Nikita, stop sharing for me, please. We have run out of time.
Okay.
Nikita, yes. So I want to sincerely thank Miss Margaret Newman for coming and giving a very good lecture. And I see some of what I've said, know that they hear it from someone else.
That's important. Yes.
Yes, I wanted to expose them to think, I want them to understand that academic writing is something that is universal. And I've said to them before that the way how we teach academic writing at UWI at Excelsior is the same way it is taught all the way around the world. It's not that we have a version and the world has another version. So sincere thanks to you, Miss Newman, and she's coming back on Wednesday. I want to also thank the students who shared. I see a lot of work.
Love it. Yes.
I'm actually
I'm
very
impressed.
Yeah. The students have done some really good work. work. So commendations to the class. And I tell you, Margaret, I actually haven't taught them how to do real research yet. I haven't.
Oh, no, see, I didn't want to criticize your instructor, you know, but from my point of view, he should have made you read first because I don't know what you got to write about. But I see that you've done research, which is
Yes, they
really
have
good.
done that. Because what I did, I showed them how to kind of use, go and like expose them to like authored web page, color, articles, books.
No, that's
edited.
good. Your APA thing was excellent. And I want to thank, I'll be seeing you on Wednesday, but I want to thank Mr. Clark or Robin. Can I call you Robin? Because you call me Margaret. I prefer Margaret. All right. I want to thank Robin. This has been so much fun. I mean, I'm not used to not seeing my people. I love eye contact. I love to walk around the room. I'm not good at sitting down. I have a lot of energy, but I managed. And once we got to the part where you showed me your stuff, it got even more fun. So on Wednesday, I'll do less talking and we'll do more work on your outlines and everybody can follow along and see and learn from what we did right and what we did wrong, okay?
Right.
It was fun. I'm coming back.
Hello, mute your mic. Mute your mic.
Yes, Tariq.
Oh shit, sorry, want to hear me?
Yes, Tariq, we heard you.
Yes,
Oh, I apologize.
Yes, and Margaret, you know that some of my students, they're police officers, they're in all kinds of professions. So sometimes they go out of
no, it doesn't matter. I've heard people from all walks of life use that word. So, I think I've even heard my son when he thought I was out of hearing, So,
all right, Margaret, so I see you on Wednesday. I don't want to keep
next
them
week,
because we have
yes,
another
Wednesday.
class. No, man, Wednesday, not Wednesday coming.
Yes, Wednesday coming. Sorry, I didn't mean next week. I
Right,
mean
right.
Wednesday coming. We'll do some
Yes.
more work. I'll finish the PowerPoint. Don't give them the PowerPoint. Yeah, you can give it. Is it possible to give them that one slide? It doesn't matter. They can look at everything. I'll still talk about it. I'm a good talker.
Okay.
All right.
All righty. So Margaret,
Because I
we'll
like
talk
that slide. Yeah. Mhm.
All right. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Take care.
Good night.
Wednesday. Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Right.
Margaret, I want you to end. Rakisha,
Yes.
Rakisha, are you there?
I didn't
Yes,
see.
sir. I'm here, sir.
Okay.
End the session for me. You know how to, just because you're co-host, you can end the session. End the session.
Oh, okay, sir.
Everybody will leave the room because someone else has to
Okay.
use the room.